Sometimes staying at a hotel can be a real pain in the neck. Hey there, hi there, ho there, Andrew here, and it's the first night of Tricks and Treats. So today we're going to review Hotel Transylvania, the first one, mostly due to the fact that I haven't seen the sequel yet. Now this movie stars Adam Sandler doing his goofy voice as Count Dracula, and he has his usual movie lackeys. Not talking about Dracula, I'm talking about Sandler. You know, he brings on people like Kevin James and David Spade, people that can't get work unless their friends are doing a movie. It's stuff like this that makes the show Entourage look like a documentary. Now I will say one thing I found strange about this movie is that they are Universal Studio movie monsters, yet this is a Columbia Pictures film, and it's distributed by Sony Pictures. Now the director's name is Genndy Tartakovsky, and this is his feature film debut. However, he is the creative mind behind things like The Powerpuff Girls, Star Wars Clone Wars, Samurai Jack, Dexter's Laboratory, and a whole bunch of other stuff. The story in this movie is pretty simple, but it never really gets off the ground. In 1895, Dracula builds a resort in Transylvania to keep his daughter safe from humans. And in present time, it's called Hotel Transylvania, where all the monsters can bring their families in for a vacation. You know, in case Uncle Harry needs to get away. So Dracula invites his close friends like Frankenstein's monster and his wife Eunice, who is played by Kevin James and Fran Drescher. Then you've got Wolfman Wayne and his wife Wanda. Whew, that's a tongue twister. And those two are played by Steve Buscemi and Molly Shannon. Then you've got Griffin the Invisible Man played by David Spade and Murray the Mummy played by CeeLo Green, which actually seems like an odd cast for CeeLo Green to be Murray the Mummy, until you find out that there was supposed to be a song number there. It just happened to end up on the cutting room floor. So like I said, Dracula invites all of his friends over to celebrate the 118th birthday of his daughter named Mavis, played by Selena Gomez. And when the party's about to start, a 21-year-old human named Jonathan, who is played by Andy Samberg, stumbles through the forest and happens upon the hotel. Now Dracula sees Jonathan and he wants to hypnotize him to get him out of there, but it doesn't work because he's wearing contact lenses. So Dracula decides to go ahead and dress him up as a monster so none of the other guests know he's human. Mavis also sees Jonathan, and then soon Mavis believes that Jonathan is the zing of her life, despite that he's a human and despite what her father says about him. I will explain zing in a little bit. Now overall the casting is to be expected. I'm not a big fan of the actors, and I'm not a big fan of the current Adam Sandler movies anyways. I much enjoy the older Happy Madison productions. Side note, Steve Buscemi is by far the best voice actor in this movie. After all, he has experience in it. He has played Randall. Not that Randall. Yes, that Randall. And his character, I think, is the best character in the movie. His Wolfman is basically mentally defeated by an overbearing wife and a litter of children. So Mavis is your typical 118-year-old vampire goth girl. She's probably what the millennial generation vampire would be, since she drinks synthetic blood because it's safer. Her story plot is that she's cooped up in a castle by an overprotected father and yearns to be free. Well, we haven't seen that trope done to death already, right? Now Sandler's Dracula is overprotected of his child, and that's because the mother of the child was killed and he doesn't want anything to happen to Mavis. And yes, there are movies that have played that tone out better as well. And as typical movies go, there's generational tension between the parent and the child. All the other creatures play off as cool aunts and uncles for Mavis, which makes Dracula look even more paranoid. Now the monsters have been away from humans for so long that most humans would only see them as legends and old stories. And that's one of the reasons why Jonathan isn't scared. Well, also for the fact that he's an idiot. Have you noticed that Andy Samberg plays an idiot a lot? Now later on in the movie you do see how people see monsters, but I don't want to spoil anything on that. There is a lot of physical comedy with pratfalls and over-the-top reaction shots, and that's to be expected in an animated movie. Now the big beef that I have here is it's very repetitive when it comes to the story, and the story is very predictable. If you are over the age of 12, you see everything coming a mile away. And is it a fun movie? Yes, it is definitely a fun movie. The movie uses monsters that we know and love, so there is some familiarity to it. And there is nothing scary or gory in it, so it is safe for kids. This is definitely a movie that can be playing during the Halloween season. And it can be playing in the background during a Halloween party where kids are involved. Kids might like seeing the different types of monsters that are walking around Hotel Transylvania as guests. There are a couple funny lines that Sandler has in there, like comments about how Twilight represents vampires. And there's also a scene where Dracula listens to Jonathan's iPod music when he hears the overplayed Sexy and I Know It by LMFAO. He actually grabs his heart and says, "It's taking my soul." That made me laugh. Now, if you play this movie for kids and you decide to leave, be prepared to answer questions like, where's Mavis's mom and what is Zing? Zing is basically Dracula's version of love at first sight. You know, that feeling that you get when you meet the person that you want to be with forever. And for a vampire, forever can be a long time. Now, there are some loopholes in the plot and the storylines, but not much to think about, really. Now, I did say before, Dracula can hypnotize and erase people's minds, but couldn't do it to Jonathan because Jonathan was wearing contact lenses, but I'm not quite sure why he didn't do it to Quasimodo so he didn't expose anything. Also, Dracula hypnotizes a pilot through the cockpit window of an airplane, so I'm wondering, do the lenses have to be prescription in order to work, or actually not work? Now, some might be saying that I'm nitpicking at this movie, but I bring it up because it's actually part of the plot and story. Nitpicking would be saying something like Frankenstein's monster doesn't like fire and he doesn't fly because one of the engines might catch on fire, yet he stays in a vacation spot that is completely torch-lit. Or the fact that he sits in a sauna that is powered by a fire-breathing dragon. That would be nitpicking. So if you love the Universal Studio movie monsters, but you want to see Sony's interpretation of them in a kid's movie, then yeah, watch it. And if you are a big fan of Adam Sandler and his crew, plus you want to see an animated movie that is ready for kids during Halloween that don't involve chipmunks, then this movie is totally library worthy. I count this movie as one of the harmless treats that you can have during the Halloween season. So I count this as a treat, not a trick. So have you seen this movie or the sequel? What do you think about it? Tell me below. Don't forget to like and share this video and make sure you subscribe so you are notified the moment I upload. And I will see you in the next video.